Arrow. Yes, I want to say yes, but Arrow has a very special place in my heart and mind, I'd say. Arrow is a show based on the DC comic book character, the Green Arrow. It follows the characters Oliver Queen, John Diggle, Thea Queen, Felicity Smoke, Quentin Lance, Laurel Lance. It's a show on the CW, and I was a huge fan of the CW show Smallville, which is about the story of how Superman came to be. When CW announced that they were going to do a show called Arrow about the Green Arrow, I knew I couldn't miss it. And so I watched it, and season 1 was amazing. Season 2 was phenomenal as well. Arrow was very gritty and dark. You know, it was different. And then for a superhero show, it was very, I want to say, real. By the time season 2 ended, you fell in love with the show. You fell in love with the characters, for the most part, and you fell in love with watching it every day. It was suspenseful, it was thrilling, it was visually appealing because of good fight choreography, and just the cinematography did a good job in how it portrayed the story. The reason I have mixed feelings about the show, though, is because a show like this is only as good as its villain. Season 1 had a good villain, Malcolm Merlyn. Season 2 had what I personally believe was the better villain, Deathstroke. A lot of people know Deathstroke from shows like Teen Titans. The thing is, after season 2, that's where things get a little dodgy. Alright, season 3's villain was Ra's al Ghul, who most people know as a major villain in the Batman comics. The thing is, Arrow kind of lost its way starting with season 3. They didn't utilize villains as properly as they could have. Ra's al Ghul was not that bad. That was when the show started to decline. Season 4's villain, Damien Dark, that was where the show fell apart. I'm not saying that Dark was a bad villain. I'm saying that Arrow did not use Dark well. Damien Dark had so much potential as a character, and the actor who plays Damien Dark is amazing. Arrow kind of got lost in what they were doing because they started focusing on things that weren't the villain. Went from action show based on a superhero to a teenage girl's romance novel. There was no focus on what truly mattered. That's where it all fell apart. Season 5, it starts to pick up again. You know, Arrow's new villain is Prometheus. Prometheus does very well in making you think that Arrow is back to how it used to be. But that's where they get you. It isn't. Prometheus was a good character, and he did lead to one of the highest rated episodes of Arrow. The only thing is, they could have done so much better with Prometheus. They did better with Prometheus than Damien Dark, but just like Damien Dark, he had so much potential that was lost. Now, the current season is only midway through, so I can't say much on the villain. Right now, the villain is Caden James, and he's played by an actor that I love. He played Finch in Person of Interest. The villain's not bad so far. The thing is, the show is somewhat broken right now because it's trying to focus on too many things. It's trying to have too many stories going on. It's gotten better, but not nearly as how good it was season 1 and 2. I think it's not necessarily all the writers' fault for how the show has become. I think DC as a company kind of shafted Arrow. From the articles that I have read, the reason Arrow was kind of shafted was because they started assembling a Suicide Squad in the show, and those were really good episodes, and those are really good characters. They had a lot of depth to them. They had a lot of connection to the main cast, but according to an article I read, DC told them that they couldn't use the characters anymore because of the upcoming Suicide Squad film. So what they did was they basically killed off all of the characters that were supposed to be in the Arrow Suicide Squad. If I were a writer and I was setting up Suicide Squad to be a huge integral part of a show, and DC just comes out of the blue and tells me that I can't use it, I have a deadline, you know, so I would have to come up with random stuff on the spot to make up for all of that lost material that I had before, and I believe that is what happened. Those are my thoughts on Arrow. I hope you give it a chance. I hope that Arrow makes changes, and I am excited to see what's to come with Arrow, and I hope that you guys give it a chance and keep an open mind, because shows can always get better. Yes, they can get worse, but you know, have faith. I hope DC as a company comes to their senses and gives Arrow a little more free reign in what they can and cannot do. Go and get me some coffee, because I ran out of